How are you enjoying your time here at West Coast?
Oh, it's been great. Obviously, it's a young group, and I've probably dealt with young players in the past with my development role at Carlton and coaching the Bull Ants, and I've really enjoyed. Probably the great thing about the West Coast list is they've still got that little bit of experience. Glass, Cox, and Embley, and those sort of players. It's a great mix.
Can you give us a clue as to how many of the youngsters we'll see run around on Sunday, Dave?
Yeah, most of our players will play. Seeing we're playing in the first game and the last game, we're going to give everyone that's available, we're going to try and give them a little bit of an opportunity to play. So I dare say there'll be, I'd say probably 80% of the young players will be playing this Sunday.
And will you have to have players doubling up with the first game and the last game? And if so, how do you manage them in the time between the two games?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Warren Cofield, the phys ed guy, he's looked right into that. We will have some players playing both games. We will control which players they are. The older players won't be the ones doing it. It'll probably be more the younger guys that their bodies are a bit more able to adapt to re-warming up. So that'll be something that they'll look at. Might be a bonus. The players that play two games might really come out and fire up in the second game.
What do? You keep them warm, or do you sort of cool them off and then warm them up again? What's the thinking at this stage as to how you go about it?
Oh, I think you'd keep them a little bit warm. You'd give them a bit of time to relax and recover, but the key will just be making sure that they're warmed up again. So what the players do themselves, there might be different things. Some players might want to do a bit extra, they might go for a swim in here. But I think the key, as long as they're warmed up for the second game, they should be right.
There'll be a lot of eyes on Gaff and Jack Darling. Will they both play, and if they do, where can we expect to see them?
Yeah, they're both playing at the moment. Gaff will probably play through the midfield forward, similar to Jack. He'll probably start forward, I'm thinking, at this stage, but that's where they've been training with their lines throughout pre-season. I dare say that'll be where they start.
How's Jack's pre-season been?
Yeah, it's not too bad. He's a great athlete. He's had a little bit of an interrupted, just a bit of tightness here and there, but as young players, they're always controlled how much of pre-season they do, along with Gaff and Scotty Lysett and the other rookies as well. But they don't do everything, but his has probably been a little bit held back, but he came out and did the 2K time trial and won his group pretty convincingly after not doing as much work, so I think physically he should be okay.
Are you confident in the upside that these younger players have at West Coast?
Yeah, I've been really excited with them. Even just the other day, some of Scott Lysett's ability as a big man, the way he moved around the oval. Jack's got a great competitive nature, and Andrew Gaff is just a really classy ball user, and you can never have too many of those.
Lysett's improvement physically since his first training run's been quite remarkable, hasn't it? He was tailed off the back running his first sessions, and then by the time he came back after Christmas, he was right up with the players he was running against.
Yes, it's a big change. Obviously, you go, especially for someone he's from the country as well, but it's a big change, and your body takes a while to adapt to the requirements of AFL. And like I said earlier, they have modified programs, but they've plenty of times put into planning their programs, and he trained really well the other day. I thought it was his best session, so that's what you want. You want the players firing. We're probably aiming for round one rather than now, but it's good to see so many players available for this weekend.
Do you pick one of the halves where you play predominantly your best 22 players, or do you try and split them evenly?
Oh, I think we're going to go down the path of trying to split them evenly, but having a look at which players can play two games, and also allowing you the opportunity that if a couple of guys do get injured in the first game or get corkies and you don't want them to back up, that you've got the flexibility to have the right players available to play both games.
Is Lysett in the mix for the games on Sunday?
Yep. All three of the boys will be playing. Everyone available at the moment will be playing, so we're trying to really aim to give them a taste of the footy, whether it's a rookie or an experienced player. If they're available, they'll play.
Is that a positive sign for the club to have nearly a full playing list available for the first round of the NAB Cup?
Oh, it is, and credit goes to the program that was planned. John Worsfold and Warren Cofield sat down, and they're aiming for round one, but to have so many players up and available at the moment, it's not easy throughout pre-season, so it's a positive sign.
How about Luke Shuey? David, will his finger hold him back in this game?
Yeah, Luke won't play this weekend. There's a few boys out. I think we've got about 8 or 9 players that won't play, but Luke's finger's one. A couple of other guys are on the edge that maybe in season you would play them, but at this stage it's too big a risk to worry about them, and we'll get a little bit more conditioning into those players before they play.
Who are some of those guys that you've just been conservative with?
Oh, a couple of the younger, like Blaine Wilson, who's been in the mix, Jerry McGovern, another rookie. A couple of the younger guys were probably the ones that, if it was a game, you may play them, but we're just really taking our time with those. And then you've got some other players like Luke Shuey, Pat McGinnity, Bo Waters and Curry are probably the ones that they're not quite ready to go yet, but are not far off it, hopefully.
Garrick Whedon is a player who because of injury, Eagles fans wouldn't have seen, well, Eagles fans wouldn't have seen anything of him, but few people would have seen much of him last year because of his injury problems. Will he play, and how's he been tracking?
He will play. He's been going really well. From what I heard, I wasn't here last year, but from what I've heard, the way he came back this year to the start of pre-season, he was in better shape and he's been quite good. He's been one of our better tacklers throughout pre-season and something I know he's prided himself on. So hopefully he'll get out there and lay a couple of big tackles, and with the way the game's going, forward pressure is very important, and there's probably an opportunity for someone to hold down a forward position as purely as a tackler and hopefully hit the scoreboard a little bit as well.
We've seen some changing roles at the Eagles over the past 12 months. What do you have in mind for someone like a Quinton Lynch on Sunday?
Yeah, Quinton's probably the other end of the field for me. I look after the back line, but he will play. He'll play forward, depending on what they do with Nick Natnui and Cox and Scotty Lycett. He may need to play in the ruck. If they go with 2-2 in each game, then he may need to play in the ruck at some stage. But at the moment, he's aiming to be one of the key forwards, probably along with Josh Kennedy and Callum Wilson at the moment.
Do you expect to keep Mitch Brown as a defender, David, or is the club looking at maybe using him somewhere else at this stage?
Yeah, it's probably a positive for Mitch that he does have that flexibility. At this stage, he's probably been training more in the back half, but he knows that he can go down in the front, in the forward line if he needs, and probably it's great for the side. We'll have a look today. Will Schofield will play a lot of junior footy as a forward as well, and Eric McKenzie can mark the ball. So we've got some flexibility there with our list, which hopefully probably won't happen this week, but throughout the year maybe things that we do look at.
Has the club thought about what sort of player you need as the sub? Is it likely to be a tall or a short, or is it a versatile player?
Yeah, we've discussed it. It probably will be a little bit of suck and see what other clubs are doing. Throughout the season, yeah, it'll depend if you're going for an advantage. You might go tall early and then bring on some runners late in the game, but versatility is going to be a key throughout the games, and if you do lose a play, you need someone that may be able to cover him as well. You can look at the game, if everyone's available, you can make the sub you want, but if an injury happens, you need to be flexible and be aware that it may be out of your control who's coming off.
With the NAB Cup, have you sat down as coaches and discussed what you're hoping to get out of it? Do you think that you can win it? Is it important to win it, or do you just want to blood some youngsters?
Oh, this week we're definitely blooding youngsters. We want to play, especially with the first and last games. We don't want to put any player at risk, so we want to play as many players as we can and give them a bit of experience. It's probably a fair way off AFL experience, but for a young player it may be his first taste, and just give him that little bit of a bug, bit of a drive, playing in front of hopefully quite a good crowd here on Sunday.